I'm working here, getting spark plugs ready, and right now it's on the point. Oh, where we at? 0.35 inch gap. I guess you say 35,000, and I'm prepping the 0.3 inch spark plugs, and I just keep hearing this thing back there chopping real nice. Makes me happy. Well, as you saw, the shop is a mess. The last 2 weeks or so, I've been pulling tools, trying to tune the car. We've done a bunch of things. I think we've gone through a bunch of what I've done. And I just got back from the hometown car show here for our Harvest Festival. And last night, I wanted to do a couple things. It wouldn't run right. Like, it now revs to 7,000 RPM, but it wouldn't run right. So it turns out that I needed to blow out the fuel line, because even though I've cleaned the tank, it doesn't want, or there's still some sediment that's working its way out. So I went and I've got multiple fuel filters, and I'm keeping them in the trunk till that last little bit comes out. But I also resynchronized the carbs and retuned them, and the thing was hauling a lot better. I think it's a little bit on the lean side now. That I can tune out, but it's just raining right now, and I don't really want to do full throttle testing in the rain. And it's still clean from the car show. Yeah, like, she's pretty. Okay, so I've had a lot of conversation with Tony and with Brian. And Brian, I know you watch the channel. I thank you very much for all of the help. It's been very, very good. Yeah, so how did you put that, Brian? We have a one set of spark plugs for going to the car meets and one for party time. So basically 0.35 and 0.3 inch. I'm running the 0.35 gap ones now, and I wanted to have a spare set, first of all, in case I black foul them again. But I can see on the plugs they're a little bit lean. I'll show you the video clip I sent Brian there. But they're a little white, and I need to get them a little more brown. So I think we got to richen up the mixture. At this point, when I widen the gap on the spark plug running points, it's kind of a hit and miss here. We're going electric eventually, but like electronic ignition. So I've widened them from, okay, I was at 0.7 factory. I thought narrowing them was better because of points, but Brian suggested give a try to widen them. So what it did was, I'm not quite hitting my 7,000 RPM, which means it might be blowing out, like not strong enough spark but we're running higher gap, and this is a testing. So I'm gonna run when it's not raining the 0.30 gapped plugs, see how they compare, and then we'll do the test for seeing if the thing can be richened up a little bit. Yeah, maybe with a hotter spark. Actually, I'm just thinking about it now, it might also need to be richened up. That could be the other thing, just to help provide more fuel for the amount of air to work with that spark plug gap. But yeah, that's where I'm at with testing. All right, so I pulled the 35 thou gap plugs out, and I put the 30 thou in. It seems to run a little stronger, so I don't have enough spark with points to run that. I'm almost thinking going down to a 25 thou might actually be best burn. I also noticed one of my runners was a lot blacker than the rest, but they're all pulling evenly, so it must be a bad spark thing. I had some good backfires too. I had a hard time tuning the 35 thou, but the other ones they tuned a little better, at least 30 thou. So we might have to go one size down, but we're gonna go take it for a drive now, me and my son. So we'll get back to you guys later. Bye. Is it recording? All right, thanks, bud. So we went to the bike shop, right?
Uh-huh.
And you had a gift card from your birthday. We bought you new tire, derailleur, and a shirt. And because your tire, it looks like it's slick and it's for a mountain bike. So brake stands are fun, right? So tonight you're gonna do brake stands?
Yeah.
But we're back to carb testing, or I guess spark plug testing, and it runs better on the 30,000 plug without having electronic ignition on points. I could only get up to 6,000 RPM, and bless you, 6,000 RPM. So I kept playing with mixtures. We're on a side road here, just like first gear launches up to 7,000. Now we're hitting 7,000 RPM. Do you want to? I'm gonna hold the camera and then they can see it. That was me on and off the throttle because I'm a little bit nervous with all the money spent in the engine. Do you want to hold it while we're gonna go? So I think this is kgs, and I would say 1,000 kgs is what it weighs here. Because it said 40 over when I got onto it. So I just drove off the scale and it's 40. Yeah, it's out by 40. So we're about 2,200 pounds is what this car weighs. All right, so we just got home. Did some testing out on a side road at the highway. It's an empty space, good spot for doing that, guys. Yeah, so my evaluation is the car would like the 35 thou gap with electronic ignition, because I feel like it wants to pull harder, but it can't burn the mixture because we're backfiring and stuff. So the power's a little less, I can tell, on the 30 thou spark plugs. Sorry, not looking at the camera. I'm working through the thoughts in my brain. Yeah, so with electronic ignition, we'll probably throw those plugs in. I did notice plug number 4 was a lot blacker than the rest, which kind of confused me, but it could be starting to run rough because it could have started fouling on that one, is my guess. Unless we have vacuum fitting there and that does something else. I'm not sure, guys. But we're making good progress. I'm actually quite happy with it coming from the beginning of the weekend, just before the last car show, where it wouldn't run right at all, to it's quite reliable, I think. All right, so we just got back home from the bicycle parts run, as you saw, and tuning. And there's a bit of story I got to give here. We'll throw a little clip in here. Check this out. Hey, were we doing a little sunset drive and Daddy thought he wrecked it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was really desperate to go for a ride, and I was doing a nice burnout like right here, or right by this place. But boost hose needs a better connection, I guess. That's enough boost to blow the hose off, man. I'm gonna put that on and we'll just take her back home. I thought I'd see oil coming out of it. So basically, as you saw, I thought I blew up the race car. I was gonna show my son how to do a burnout. And I did a proper clutch dump, and it instantly went fast power for about 2 seconds, and then just power gone. And I thought, shoot, I'm going to have pistons, rods, and a hole in the side of the block and oil all over the ground. And what turns out was the boost hose had popped off, and my son found a piece of shrapnel on the side of the road. This piece of car, and it's going to tighten this clamp up here. We were going to try and tighten the boost hose clamp back on with that. It's literally the hose going from the turbo. It's like a 1 foot section of hose, so it's right off the turbo. You can still drive it that way, but somebody comes along. Sorry, I don't remember your name, but I think you're watching the channel now. He had a boosted, I think, Acura Integra. You can correct me if you want in the comments. But he's in his work truck, I believe, where they sell tractors. And he said he needs some help, and I said, yeah, we blew the boost hose off, and the I could use a flathead screwdriver or an 8 mil wrench, and he's like, yeah, we got that. And so he said, isn't it good to know when you make enough power to blow the boost hose off, you're making good power? And I said, actually, that's a good point. So while we were on that side road now doing this testing that we just did, there's the same truck rolls by against traffic, pulls to a stop, and with a smile says, do you need a flathead screwdriver? And I looked up and it's like, smiled, and I said, nope, got one right here. And it turns out he's watching the channel, so thank you very much. A shout out to you. Yeah, that kind of made my day. Little things like that is what it's all about. So yeah, that was fun. But I figured you guys got to hear that story because that's just great. All right, first oil change coming up here. We're breaking oil. We're dumping it at 200 miles. I don't know if the odometer is fully accurate, but it's fairly close. I seem to be keeping up with traffic in nice order. All right, so I'm doing my first oil change now, and we've put about 200 miles in the car. I talked to the local machine shop. They said put about 100 miles on it and dump it, but I was at the car show and I've driven around town a lot, so I've put about 200 miles on. Though my speedometer might be out a little bit. I think 100 kilometers an hour is 90. I think. I'm not sure. I have to speed test it yet. So we're in the range of where I'm happy with changing the oil. And this stuff here is what I've put in it. I'm seeing it backwards in my screen, but I don't think it is. So 5W30. It's a driven break-in oil. So I'm dumping that stuff now. I didn't see any like metal shavings worth worrying about in the drain plug. It's got a little bit of a magnet on it. I cleaned out my oil drain pan, so we can take a look at that oil in a sec. I don't like the 530 as what I want to run full time, so I went to the machine shop and they gave us this. This is messy. Okay. I'm just running the Napa filter 1034. May change it down the road, but I don't see why this wouldn't work. It's meant for this car. Just realize you have to put some oil in there. If I remember correctly, that's required. Alright, some high zinc oil. Let's see, can we make it without a mess? We need about 5 quarts in here, I believe.
Why?
That's what the motor requires. And this one it's 1 gallon, US gallon, so it needs a little bit more than what this is into the motor. Perfect. So after running it a little bit, I had to add a little bit more. I think that's probably normal, because we had to fill up the oil filter. Let's fire up. I've had it running once already just to get it through the filter. Alright guys and girls, so a lot of drama off camera here. Progressively, this car would not rev. When I built it, I got it fired up, 6,000 RPM is what it would hit. And it wouldn't rev over that. And then some days it would only rev to 5,000 RPM. And then like 3 days ago, it would sputter like crazy and hit 4,000 RPM and that's it. So I had lots of diagnosing. I completely pulled all of the ignition apart in the distributor, re-gapped the points, cleaned them. By the way, those are going to go away once I get parts to put electronic ignition in. So there's a bit of guesswork here. And timing was a little bit off, or like it wasn't reading properly with the timing gun. So I was like, well, I want to go to a car show tomorrow, which is what I'm doing, another car show, and it's like 5 minutes from my house. So if we do have issues, it's not far from home. But I figure, okay, we'll rip the fuel pump, the electric one, off of the FJ40. And I did try and clean this gas tank really well, but there's still sediment coming out, which is why I bought a bunch of those clear fuel filters, so you can see when there's sediment. When I pull the fuel filter out to install the electric fuel pump, which I think we might upgrade to electric yet if I keep having issues after electronic ignition. We'll do a pump as well. I need to have pump and ignition done. I have a guy who will tune the carbs for me, Tony's old boss. He's a motorcycle guy, and he also does hot rods and old cars and stuff like that. So I found a ton of sediment. We'll get a look at that in a second. So I changed that, put it back together, and this car also doesn't run well when it's like quarter tank. It likes to be at least half full if you want to give her with it and be a little bit spicy. Pulled the plugs out, and they're black, sooty black. We'll get a look at that as well in a second. So that explains a lot. The other thing I had was when I put the ignition all back together after having it apart, the car wouldn't start at all. And then I said, well, it's 2:30 in the morning. I'm kind of done. So I just went and wiggled the condenser wire on the distributor, and it started right up. So I've replaced the wire on there, and then I also tested the other one, and now they both work. And then it felt like it was running a little bit lean, like a little bit of lean popping. Maybe these wipers do that when you like throttle hard and let off. It kind of pop. Maybe it's because there's just a little restriction. Temperature gauge also comes up now to about 130 instead of not rising at all. I can feel it's warmer while I'm tuning. It means, I think, might mean hotter spark. And what else do we got with that? Oh, I tested just to make sure. I didn't really have much for hanging idle or any. So I did the pinpoint water test around the carbs in the intake manifold, and there was no leak, no change in RPM that I could tell. So the cool thing is we can hit 7,000 RPM now in idle, and it wants to rev over that, which I didn't try, but it wasn't stopping the climb. So I think we got a better spark, but we do need electronic ignition and maybe a different fuel pump. I like the mechanical because it's simple. In between there, I thought it was also like maybe rip the diaphragm, but this tells me otherwise. So hopefully we got our fuel issue figured out. I'll put gas in the morning. It rained and the car's washed, ready for the show. But let's take a look at some things. So the first thing I noticed, oh yeah, it's black. You can see that's coming out of the tank. So I don't know if there's sediment in the line. Maybe that's causing this. Might have to blow the lines out yet. But yeah, there's that. And then I guess with once, oh, and we fixed a kinked fuel line right here. It's now a piece of rubber hose. That was a big deal. The car was running bad, but when I replaced the kink, which I thought wasn't that much restriction, it turns out it was, because it used to like go and it would there was no smooth transition from off throttle, like idle, to on throttle. There was a big dead spot in there, and it makes sense now. The fuel system could hardly keep up, and now we have better flow. They all look like this. They're super fouled. So if they're fouling now, we have an ignition problem, or it's still running lean. We need an air fuel gauge, but I'm kind of running out of project money for this year. Next year we'll kind of do some tax return stuff. So I'm gonna go by ear on some of this. And I'm definitely not asking you guys for donations. It's all about you enjoying the channel without having to pay me. Yeah, but we're coming along. Let's go take a look at the 7,000 RPM, and then I'm gonna go have date night with my wife. I think we're gonna watch some I Love Raymond or something like that. Everybody Loves Raymond. We got into that series. Old school stuff. But let's take a look at the RPM now. Got our nice lope back too. There, so this is getting closer, I think, maybe on the lean side, but I did try a bunch of carburetor settings on these until they were running right, so it's harder to read that way. That was plug 2. Here's plug 1. They're all consistent. This one is a little richer, you can tell. The back carburetor is richer, so that was a bad. And then the last barrel, this is way too black, and that's probably why we're getting the backfire. But I still want to say it's not getting hot enough spark to run that gap. So this does technically explain the black plug. It's there's a vacuum draw on here, I guess, for the power brakes. I don't know if that would make a difference, but I'm gonna have to do a little research on that, because maybe these two balances are off and it needs me to do a little air bleed kind of situation on one of these and boost the other up. If that's the case, that's something that is fixable. So the car's kind of kicking my butt right now. Still got a new car, new build teething issues, I guess. Currently we're following plug number 4, and I'm starting to wonder if maybe there's a bad spark plug wire, because I've put in 3 different plugs, and you've seen in the picture, I believe the 35 thou set. So I bought a spark plug testing light right there, you can see it. We'll try that, see if the plug is doing what it needs to do, or I guess the wire. I reattached it. It sounds like it's missing when it starts cold and then warms up. It just sounds like weak ignition type stuff, but I really don't know exactly what it is. And if it's valve adjustment, it doesn't make sense either that it's going lean instantly. It's almost like it's not sparking. So I got some tests to do, I guess. Yeah, like I've played with the carburetor a bunch of times, and it always seems to give me the same result, and it seems to get progressively less happy the more times we keep working with it. Last drive I took with the thing, it was popping out of the intake and the exhaust, like backfire. And it really doesn't make any sense at this point. If it's valve lash, I think Brian said he'd come down and help me there out next week to adjust that. But I want to see if there's something wrong with these spark plug wires. I did talk to my boss, actually. He's got a Camaro he's been building, and it's got a small black Chevy in it. He said he had taken it to a professional shop locally here, and they worked on it, trying to fix some issues. And what happens is, I'll show you here. So what my theory was is maybe these boots aren't pushing on properly. I've given them the wiggle jiggle test, but they want to slide up onto this cord. So when you push it on, maybe it's not fully seating there. That's my other thought on this whole debacle. But yeah, I guess we'll run the test light here. Woo! Yeah, there's spark there. Okay. Yeah, it's sparking, but how consistent? And notice that, guys? And notice play idle's different with this one off. But watch when I pull this one. It hardly changes. I bet there's a problem with this front wire here. Ow. And it's shocking me through the boot. We might have the problem here. Alright, so there is spark at the last wire, but I don't think very good spark. It also shocked me right through the boot. There's got to be a bit of a problem there. I'm thinking I got a new set of wires that's supposed to be here tomorrow, but I still want to run this tool, so maybe we'll do this while it's off. That's on there. Okay, let's start it and see what we get here. We've got spark there from what I can tell. I want to compare and see how consistent it is with the other ones, but I also want to do the after dark water test. Alright. cylinder number 1 here instead of 4. Tripod just kind of is giving up. The sparks look the same. I mean, it could be a weak spark out of the one wire. That spark looks a lot better. Alrighty, I've ordered a bunch of parts. I couldn't find anything really wrong as far as I could tell with those wires. The continuity test or ohm meter test kind of showed the same. What I found wrong was plug number 4 was sparking kind of erratically, like a heart flutter almost, and whereas plug number 1 wire, when I use this tool here, I found number 1 was firing a lot better. And my coworker watches the channel, said you might have a cam lobe on the distributor that is worn down, and you know that might be a thing, but then he hadn't realized that I hadn't changed this or the rotor or the points. Points looked good, they were gapped and cleaned, but I'll show you what I did find on that distributor cap. So we've kind of come to the conclusion, me and I've talked with Brian was actually the one who led me onto this first, my good friend Brian, who also watches the channel, that the distributor cap, you can see all the parts down there, but this guy here is probably the issue, along with, may as well change this. So let's take a look. So I did go and order new wires. We're going to throw them on, even though there's only 200 miles on the one set. New plugs. We're going to test. We're going to do the one that's fouling. We'll change it out, and if it's good, I'll change all the plugs after we've changed this stuff. So I wanted a copper one with the copper points, but I got the aluminum one because they could ship it faster, and shipping all came from Rock Auto instead of from each distributor. So the one I really wanted was a longer wait plus more shipping. So then I know this may be cringe. We're going to be running points. May as well diagnose it, get this stuff working so it's off the table, instead of putting electronic ignition and finding out, oh, there's something still not right here. But yeah, electronic ignition will probably solve it all. And then we got this. So this is I just went with this brand because they had them in stock there. So the cap's part number, and then we got the 2 part numbers here for the points and for the rotor. So I'm going to try all these new parts, plus shiny new cap is sweet. I've heard that you're supposed to change these every year. Back of my mind says, what happens when they stop making them? But if you look in mine, see how clean these are? Kind of down in there. So that's the new one. Now check this out. They're kind of, they look like slag in there. So I'm wondering if one of these is just I think they call it electric erosion. So it just eroded enough that plug number 4 isn't firing. But you can kind of see in there. You can actually see, here's the other thing, guys. Me not being a mechanic, I cleaned up like the top surface. Didn't realize where it's actually touching is the side there. So, learning curve, and I think we should never stop learning. So yeah, we'll change a bunch of these parts, and electronic ignition will be on the way. Yeah, so we'll change a bunch of these parts, and then electronic ignition I will order probably next year when I get the wideband air fuel gauge. But I want to get this problem of the misfires sorted out, and I think this will probably do it. If not, it's going to be a timing issue or the worn cam lobe. I don't know what else it would be. According to all my research, there's not much left to change here for a spark like that. So I also want to venture to say plug number 4 has been fouling the whole time, and now it's really just showing itself more. I bet you we're going to have a little more kick in the seat when we go, is really what I'm hoping. So yeah, time to change this stuff. All right, so I'm gonna replace pretty much all of this stuff. The plug wires are probably still good, but I'm keeping them for when in a pinch. The points, we'll keep them for when I'm in a pinch if I need them before we get electronic ignition. So we're just gonna go through this and change stuff. I got all the new parts, so let's rock and roll. I'm gonna adjust the point cap now, and if we zoom in on the count on the thing here, if you look right here is a cam lobe, and there's 4 of them. So what we got to do is get this thing. There's a little brown thing touching here. So if you look in here, this lobe highest point has to be here, and the smallest gap to give us the most dwell is 0.4 millimeters, and I want longer dwell on this, get a hotter spark, I believe is how that works. It keeps it open longer to get better spark. I guess we charge up the coil more. So I gotta go in here, spin the crank a little bit until it lines up with that. So then I just open up the points, stick my gapper in there, and we hold it tight and tighten the screws down. It's that simple, I think. We'll add the I think in there. Yeah, so changing your points out is actually that simple. Next thing I want to do is put this plate on and put the new rotor in there. There you go, that's new. And I think we'll get some dielectric grease, but I'm gonna just pop this guy on here. I'm really hoping this fixes the problem. Okay, that's on there now. We need dielectric grease and new spark relating cables. So I have the new ones here, and I'm gonna swap out one at a time. We're gonna find our matches. That one, that looks like. Okay, so hopefully you can see me in the shot. I'm going to swap all the plugs now for, I think, 35 thou gap. I think now we might be running hot enough that we can try that. We'll start with that. changed there on the ignition except the coil and the ballast and the little capacitor. Those tested out good. What I'm going to do is redo these carburetor settings now that we have new spark. So we're going to turn them all the way in, and I'm going to go out, I think, 1 1/4 turns, and if that one started, I'll turn them out 1/4 turn until they do start. I'm talking about the idle mixture screws, and then we'll test balance. I'm hoping it kind of stays balanced from before, but we'll find out in a pinch here. I really hope this fixes it. I want to take it to the car show this weekend, my one I've been looking forward to all year. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, that's 1 1/2. We'll do the same here. 1, 2, 3, 1 1/2, that turns. And this one's going to be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It probably won't start. I need to go up to 2 1/2 turns or 2 1/4. Okay, we'll give it a little bit more. Out. Another half turn. 1, 1, 1, 1. Gas. Another half turn. 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, battery's getting low. Shoot, battery's low. We gotta boost that guy. I think I fried it. Okay, so battery's low. I think I fried this battery when the voltage regulator wasn't working, which sucks. A brand new battery, but we gotta get some juice going on it. So I'm working with this battery till next season. It'll have to do a couple drives we're doing. We get a couple starts out of it before it goes dead. But I've just got it hooked up to the charger. I'm gonna let it go in and I'm gonna come tune it later. Okay, she's revving pretty strong. So, just took it for a drive. I would say it's a little on the lean side. I was trying to get the settings right on the carburetor, but now the back cylinders are getting more like white like this. And it was popping a lot and it wasn't hitting full RPM. So, we're going to add a little more fuel mixture. Right now I am 5 half turns out on the idle mixture screws. So, it's always popping off throttle, but no backfires out of the intake. So I thought I was running rich, but I guess we got to go a couple more, maybe one more turn on those adjustments. Yeah, so the front two look more like this, so they were more lean than the back ones. So I'm gonna add more fuel on those carburetors. All right, she's idling really nice, as you can hear. I'm gonna go check the plugs again. The lean popping's gone, and it just okay. It will probably rev to 75. It was just over 7 there, but cool. Yeah. So recap here. Got a fly flying around. Basically, I ran it. I kind of tuned it by ear, and realized it was too rich. It kind of, you can adjust, I feel like you can adjust these carburetors past the optimal point, and then it ran too rich, and it kind of gave me weird symptoms that symbolized the opposite end of the spectrum. So I was like way too rich, so I backed them off right away, and I turned them all in and turned them back out to, I was think 5 half turns out, I think is where I was, and that's where the way I was doing the drive around town. Did a lap and went to Bob's house and lean popping like crazy. That's when we pulled the plugs out and you saw they were white. So definitely was lean. So I came in the garage here, or the shop. I went and I think I did 1 or 2 turns out until I heard the idle change. So then I backed it back in about another, no, sorry. I turned it out to 1 half turn or 1 full turn. I can't remember exactly. And then the engine idle kind of changed, so I brought it in a half turn. So I think we're kind of in the ballpark. We're gonna go read plugs again and see where it's at. It's pulling a lot better. I feel like it could pull a little bit harder yet, but now, side note, I can run the 35,000 gap plugs. So this is what plug number 1 looks like now after driving. You can see it's starting to turn brown. I really need a wideband. That would solve all these problems. You could look at the thing and know exactly where it's at. Yeah, so it might still actually be lean. I'll pull out the back one or the third one and look at that one yet too. But I might be able to go 1 more turn out. All right, so we took the car for a 3rd ride, me and my son. And I opened up the idle mixture screws a little bit more fuel. And it runs stronger and it pulls harder now. It seems to stumble a teeny bit. I think. I wonder if that number 4 cylinder is still getting a little fouled up. If that's the case, I don't know what that means, but I want to read the plugs now and see if we get a little bit of a brown color out of them. Oh, and it's 18 degrees out Celsius, so that's probably going to help it run pretty good too, the cooler temperature. All right, so our color I think is looking a lot better. Sorry, it's not focusing, but it's not so white anymore. I think that's where I'm going to leave at this point. I know it's not running lean now. And that's cylinder number 1. Venture to say that is going to be darker. And I'm starting to wonder because the master brake cylinder leaks a little bit. It's brand new, but the lid doesn't seal it very well. I'm starting to wonder if maybe a little bit is dripping into the 1 velocity stack right there, and that's why it's getting black. Maybe. Look down here. We're gonna take out this number 4 spark plug, and I bet you we're gonna see a little more. We're gonna see a little more soot on it. It seems to be the thing here on number 4, and I'm wondering if it is that. Just getting a bit of brake fluid in it. That's kind of. I don't know if brake fluid is flammable, which might cause that. Yeah, there we go. It's black here, but we got a brown tip. So, I might have to do a little research because that's oddball. Sounds like it might be raining soon.
Oh, it is.
We came back just in time.
Yeah.
You want to go show them what we just missed? It's kind of looming there, right?
It's just blurry, but it's just mist. Oh, all of that. All of that.
Yeah, we just missed that, hey? So if you guys look here, every time I drive, it gets wet out of this cap, and it's brand new. This silly cap does not seal. And I'm wondering if that's in correlation, and it's just some of it's dripping right into the manifold there. I don't see a trail running into it, but if you look down on the rail, you can see it's kind of like down there. It's kind of yellow. But I don't know what to do about this. Maybe that's dripping into there. All right, so I have taken and inside here flipped the shaft with a cam, as per one of my friends from work who is a mechanic. He said, why don't you flip that thing around? And in essence, now instead of So yeah, flipped it around 180. That's what he said to do. So instead of this one fouling, if the cam lobe is worn in there, this one will foul. So not only do you flip it 180 inside here, but you also have to now take, like, this wire here, for example, is supposed to be here. So you got to flip them around and flip those two around. And it runs. It runs smoothly. So I haven't retimed or anything. I just kind of marked everything and eyeballed it fairly close at this point. So my thought is tomorrow I'm going to go for a drive around town once. Check the spark plugs. I have a brand new plug, by the way, gapped at 35 thou for plug number 4. That was all fouled black, and we'll see. If the same one's still fouling, we have a carburetor issue, not an ignition issue. Though the ignition, changing all the other ignition components we just did change, has made the thing run a lot better. It just keeps fouling number 4. So this kind of says if it's on the cam lobe is basically what I'm looking for now. And not camshaft in the engine, I'm talking the cam lobes in the distributor. So thank you very much, Dana. I appreciate all of the help you've given me on this ignition stuff. And you too, Brian. You guys have been very invaluable to me on this ignition diagnostic type stuff. All right, drive tomorrow, because if you look outside, it's dark and it's 1 in the morning. So I have done a lot of troubleshooting on this thing. We've been working through a list. As you've seen in an earlier episode, we redid the intake manifold, got to seal. It took like 2 tries. I'm also noticing, you know, there was a bunch of stuff that I do with fuel. I've redone all the ignition stuff. Electronic ignition is coming. That'll probably be a next year thing. But I keep fouling plug number 4. Yeah, I can get like 5-10 kilometers on it, and then the thing is black. And it doesn't make sense. I was thought initially maybe like we still have to go over all the valve lash. That's a thing. But in like 300 miles, I don't think it's enough to foul a plug in like 5-ish kilometers. So, and only 1 cylinder, which tells me it can't be floats, because I believe these have 2 floats, but they share a float bowl. So that isn't it, I think. But it did some reading, and I found out that the chokes are a bit of a fail point on here. Even though these are new carburetors, I think sometimes new parts can fail. So I'm going to pull off the choke mechanism on the back here, and I hope it doesn't flood fuel out when I take it off. It looks like it sits higher than the fuel level. I guess we'll probably disconnect the fuel line as well. I'm going to pull that off, and I'm going to see, apparently one or two of the pistons can get stuck, and if it's just one of the pistons or whatever is in there, if it's stuck or the gears are broken, like this moves, but it has, not necessarily more resistance, but I've read sometimes those choke levers can move and there's still a piece in there that's stuck. So there's a chance that I'm running choke wide open on 1 cylinder because it's stuck. And if that's the case, I may also just delete those if parts are broken inside, because then you're guaranteed not to have that problem again. Yeah, back and forth on a lot of things, some stressful days. I've been talking, I have one good friend who watches the channel. At this point I'd call us good friends. We do a lot of texting back and forth out in Australia. We've talked lots about setup on here. Thank you very much. I've enjoyed those conversations. And then Brian, you've been there. Tony, you've been there. A couple other guys on occasion that I've talked with. All very helpful. Yeah, thank you very much to each and every one of you who has talked through all of my questions. But I think we're going to open this up in the back there. So if you look in here, the choke cover is that one there. and it's actually just a fuel enrichment. This is what moves to have it open for when you would pull your choke. So that just adds an extra. It's like a third fuel circuit. I'm going to take that guy off and then we'll have a look inside there. All right, we got her open here, and I have some new theories. I found little particles in there. I took my flathead screwdriver, this guy here, that's magnetic, and they all came out. But my theory is when I steel wooled these things before I did the Cerakote, it got in here. And if you look at that on here, that's this part. And there is a gasket. That's it. If you look on the top of the carburetor, that hole goes into here. And if you lift the gasket up, it goes into the jetting area, which then in turn, there's an opening right to here. So I think it managed to work its way all the way in there. The other theory I have is this guy here is the choke on the backside, and you can see the gears, but you can also see there's a mesh on the bottom. And I think steel wool, once you start using it, gets fine enough. So up in here, you can see the pistons in there, right there and right there. That one moves free. That one's stiff at full seat. Now my theory is some steel wool got in there, and the only time I use this is breaking it in, and it got down into there and was holding it open ever so slightly. I'm thinking I might pull this off and break it down a little bit. And my thought is it's not clogged. Like it hasn't gotten into the jets yet, but like, cause then it would run leaner, right? But if it got into the pistons in the back that I showed you for the idle enrichment, which essentially is like a choke for these things, it just adds fuel instead of playing with the air. It's been holding it open all along. So I kind of want to take it apart and pull that piece out of there and see, just make sure we have it cleaned up. That's kind of what I would like to do. So I think I'll get rid of the fuel in here and see if we can remove this carburetor. And here's the other, I think they're emulsion tubes, but look at that. You can see the crusties in there. That's all steel wool from the polish job. Man, that sucks. So I managed to completely strip down the carburetor inside. And there's the base cover. And I blew everything out of here. So I'm going to reassemble it now. Yeah, the only one I haven't done is the accelerator pump, I guess. Should probably see if that comes out. All right, I've got her cleaned out, reassembled, and these pistons move smoothly now. There was actually a burr in there, and I can feel it's not there anymore. So it should be seating at this point, and we're gonna put the floats in there now. So yeah, these are at the 12 mils when they're closed. Not sure if you can see me here or not, but I want to pull the lid off of this guy here yet, just to see if there's floaties in there. If there is, we're going to pull this whole side apart too. All right, if you look down Let's get this tool. You look down in here, that's steel wool, and you can kind of see it in the bottom there. Some crud sitting in there. If I take this screwdriver, there you can see what's in there. That sucks. Okay, we gotta clean this one out too. Check out the front bolt cover here, or bottom, look, all that. We're gonna get rid of that. And we'll magnet it out of there. So I've pulled everything apart and I've blown everything out. Time to put it back together. All right, new spark plug back there. That front one looked a little bit rich, but if it's running good, I think we'll be able to burn it off. Yeah, carbs are all, I've gone through them. No leaks, please. So, drive after doing the carb stuff. It seemed to stay consistent. At the gas station, I just checked plug number 1. I didn't want to see number 4 yet. Put some more gas in there. 20 bucks premium. And the plug looked white, so I opened it up another half turn on the idle mixture screws. Yeah, so I'm going to take a look at the plugs now, and we'll see how they look. If they're all consistent, I have a win. So fingers crossed we don't have a rich condition on number 4 there again. So that's plug number 1. Keep in mind, guys, it was a little dark when I went to drive it initially. This went from a little bit brown to white almost. So what I'm seeing is we got to add more fuel. Let's check one of the back plug now. So this is plug number 2. Fairly consistent to the other one. I believe we need a marshmallow brown on there. It's kind of getting close, but still too white for my liking. And actually, that kind of makes sense, because it's popping a bit out of the tailpipe, which on this car apparently means it's lean. And it's a little bit sluggish over where it was, but it's running smoothly. So I think we're going to add a little bit more fuel on the idle mixture. All right, good sign, actually, even though it's on the lean side. Remember, this was also a one that was running kind of rich before. Here's the thing, guys. Because this is plug 3, plug 4, there's a little bit of a joiner here, like a bypass tube or a balance tube. So this one will always be a bit black because the other one was fouling over, it seemed. It's pretty much similar to these other guys here. So I think the carb is fixed. So this is plug number 4 from the back of the engine there. Yeah, we're still getting some black on here. So I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I still have to add fuel to each one of these guys here. But this was a brand new plug. It just doesn't seem to get as hot there. Maybe we do need to do valve lash. I don't know. But that might have to be one of the next things. But we definitely have to add fuel. The electrode's still white. That it never had before on the other plugs. So it's still rich, but we got to add more fuel to the other one. So this one will have to get it too. We'll see where that goes. Just for comparison's sake here, the one in the socket we just took out, this is how they used to look. So the electrode wouldn't even stay nice. All right, I think I just spent probably 30-40 minutes retuning the carbs. I had to open up the idle bleeds a little bit, drop the idle. I found a really good group on Facebook that deals in just Weber carburetors, because I didn't know who to ask anymore, because I kept following plug number 4. I gave them everything that we've done already on this in this episode, and then I also mentioned in that description that I turned each idle mixture screw out evenly, and I got a good handful of people saying, why are you turning them out evenly? Each barrel needs to be adjusted for itself. So I did that, and I haven't driven it yet, but as you can see, it was running pretty good. It might be a little bit lean, but basically with the videos I watched, you turn the idle mixture screw in per cylinder and then back out until the idle it'll speed up until it kind of stops speeding up, and then you kind of give it a little bit more of a turn after that. And it's hard, my hearing's not the best, like I said before, so it's kind of hard to hear that. But I think I've got it close. We have to test drive it. Will be coming up shortly here. Well, I guess you guys on the Weber group that I'm on Facebook definitely have been very helpful. I'm still on the little bit lean side. I probably richen up a little bit more yet, but adjusting per throat, like per intake runner, it makes sense. I also had a kind of half-fouled plug on number 4 that I'm still on. I think tomorrow we're going to run the hotter plugs, which was also a suggestion. So we're going to go from a number 6 to a number 5 just to see. And I'll be listening for pinging, obviously, at that point. But if you look behind me, it's dark outside. So there's nothing open at this point. But I think I'll buy a set of those and gap them about the same, 35,000. Valve noise is a little bit louder than I think it should be, so valve lash adjustment will probably happen, but it woke it up a lot. I guess if it's fueling properly on each cylinder, like literally each one is adjusted slightly different. I want to say like number 4 is a quarter or a half a turn to 3/4 turns in more than the rest. That may indicate something else, but at this point it's snappy. We also got a cooler evening now. I want to say maybe, I don't know, I'll have to check and see what that's at, but she rips hard. I think it's got a little bit lean yet, which is why I want to richen it up, because it'll pull to 7 now, but it's got a little bit of a slight bog at like, if I'm driving in first gear into my back lane is gravel, it bogs, or it kind of surges just a little bit, and it bogs, or like there's a dead spot if I put it down right away. So that tells me it's not getting quite enough fuel, but I'm very happy now. If it stays even this way, that's a win from where we were at. So check out this video clip. You can see a bit of smoke coming out of the spark plug hole number 4. Basically what we were doing, me and my son went out. We decided, what are we going to call you? The Navigator?
Yeah.
Okay, your YouTube name is the Navigator. So we did we did a hard pull and let off the throttle, turned off the ignition, let the car to coast to a stop, and all the plugs were coming clean. Then I drove around town, like 1 lap around a large section of town, steady cruising at 30 miles per hour, and I let off the throttle, shut the car off, and coasted to a stop. And that was just on the idle circuit, essentially. And so it's staying clean. I actually need more fuel in that cylinder now. So all the steel wool in there, plus the burr that was in the piston on the fuel enrichment circuit, or the starting circuit, was the problem that I was having fouling plugs. So yeah, I will get a new set of plugs. The other thing you saw in that video was it was smoking out of the number 4 only. And after talking with Tony, that's the video I sent him, he thought maybe I'd glaze the cylinder walls on the break-in on that one because it was running so rich and fouling. The other thing I have a suspicion on is there's enough carbon in that combustion chamber that it's now burning off, Or he said the other thing, it might have been turned off exactly in the right spot so that the exhaust valve and stuff was closed or whatever, and allowed the exhaust to come out. It smelled like exhaust smoke in there too. So I don't think we have anything broken yet, and it didn't smell like burnt coolant either. All right, plug number 4 is kind of where it needs to be. So I'm on the side of the road here, just did a cruise. No more smoke coming out of number 4. My theory is either it was right in the spot where there's still exhaust in the chamber when I shut it off, or there's carbon that had to burn off. But the plug is clean. Could almost lean it up a little bit, but I think it's working. So I think cleaning the carburetors was a ticket. So I'm happy about that. We got new plugs we can throw in here if we do need. Mr. Cameraman, how does the car feel to you? Does it feel better?
Yeah.
It feels like it might be lean popping a little bit out of the tailpipe. I'm not 100% sure, but I've got a fairly half decent tune on this thing now. There we go. And these are always tricky to put on. The boot wants to slide around on the wire. You gotta listen for the click. There it is. We did test plug number 1, and it's a little bit cleaner. So there's a little bit more adjustment, but now its car's working. Hey. Yeah, so one other side note, the temperature is 27 degrees, feels like 31 Celsius. So it is a little more sluggish today, but last night when it was 20 degrees Celsius, it did pull pretty hard. So that 10 degrees makes a big difference. But yeah, it was fun last night and today.
Past
Auntie Jen's house. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Let's zoom in on the RPMs here. Oh, she chirps and look at me, bud. It chirps into second gear now. It's pretty healthy at this point. Pretty cool. Well, that's good. We're doing awesome. Pretty happy right now. I enjoy it while it's there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do blast down the street here. It's idling perfect right now too. So the carburetors were the main issue there recently. The idle's really crisp and clean right now too. We're idling at maybe a little bit low, but it'll do. You get a little more lope out of it then. All right, Gran Trino, let's give me a clutch dump. You know what that is? You rev it up, you let the clutch out, and the tires squeal, and then go fast through the gears. Oh, you gotta shift gears, otherwise, there you go. Ready? Did you want to try?
Okay.
All right. You know, this video wouldn't have been possible without 4 very important people. They've given up a lot of time to hear me out, listen to all my concerns, where do I take it next, do my spark plugs look right, you know, like every little thing, why is my ignition doing this? And I wanted to say thank you to you 4 guys. My friend Jonas, Brian, Tony, and Dana. You 4 guys have been instrumental in getting me to have a car that is what I think now running really well. She can be temperamental, and you know, it may next week need something else, but up till this point, you guys have been awesome, and I want to publicly thank each of you guys. So yeah, this wouldn't be possible without you guys. Thank you guys. All right, guys and girls, we're gonna end this video on a happy note while the car is still playing ball and cooperating and not temperamental. Been a long journey. I think I'm finally to the point where I can go EFI, or not EFI, sorry, electronic ignition. We've worked out all the bugs on the current system, but that'll be like after winter. Right now, we're just last day of August, sort of, right in that range. I think it's the 30th or something like that. But it's running amazing and pulling hard. It's chirping into second gear. You know that you got the timing close. It lean pops or rich pops just a little bit out of the tailpipe. And actually, while I was driving, I was thinking I was probably getting lean and rich popping all at the same time, because one cylinder was pitch black and the other ones were running where they needed to be, maybe on the lean side, and now they're running consistently even, which means now the popping is probably, it's just ever so slightly rich. So, and it feels like it's not quite the power it should have, because it's on the, it feels like it could pull a little bit harder, so maybe an eighth of a turn in on each of the screws, and then I think we're set. But right now it's drivable. I'll probably leave it there. So guys and girls, thank you very much for following along up until now on the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you for subscribing and for hanging out. And even those of you who didn't subscribe, thank you for watching. If you really like what you see, do hit that subscribe. It gives me encouragement to know that you guys are enjoying what you're seeing. And yeah, thanks again. Hopefully you're not getting too much fridge noise back there. But yeah, we'll talk to you later. As always, get in your shop, in your garage, get your stuff done, and get out there and have fun with it. Because if you see I'm smiling, I'm having fun at this point. It was 10 years to get there, but we're here.